No, we didn't know going into it. We knew that was an emphasis, and we knew there was an emphasis on finding guys that would play our style, the style that Rob likes to play with. I think we did a really good job finding those pieces.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was all about defense. I think we got a couple offensive guys as well, and it was. I think we did a pretty good job of just addressing need while also identifying the best player available. You know, a good combination of that. So.
How do you sort of, I mean, in big picture, sort of look at value because there's, you know, anytime you draft any player, people are going to look at a big board and say, you know, you overdraft them. How do you guys sort of assess where you're getting value for a player?
I think we just trust our process, trust our scouts, ourselves, the coaches, and just how we all see the player and the evaluation, the fit for the 49ers. What role is that player going to play for us, and just how much conviction we have, and just trying to fit that player into our scheme.
You know, a large part is knowing the market, knowing who's available, where we expect them to go, what positions are deep, and kind of having a feel for the entire picture.
Kyle and John both indicated that they knew pretty early on Michael was the guy that they wanted at 11. At what point did you guys know? Were there moments that stick out to you along this process that pointed to him?
Oh, I think we were all extremely high on him from the very beginning.
For me,
I mean, it started in the summer.
I would say last summer, exactly. I loved watching this guy last summer. I loved watching him in the fall. Disappointing by the ankle injury, but we loved the way that he played through it. Loved his practice habits. When every scout went there, he still practiced through that injury. That really stood out to us.
Yeah.
Did you get to see him in person?
So I saw him in training camp, and then I was at the Ole Miss Georgia game, and pregame. That's probably when I really realized, hey, he's got an NFL body. He's made of the right stuff. He's serious. He just looked like a guy who would wear a uniform and represent us the right way, you know.
Like somebody who said, the more you watch him, the more you understand. It's not like something that you see maybe the first snap. What developed when you watched him repeatedly?
Well, he executes his job at a high level. So whether it's setting an edge in the run game, open up lanes for other guys in the pass game, and then just beating blocks himself. He plays at a high level. He showed up in big games, and he just was an unselfish teammate, you know. So
I'll say he stands out right away, but he does jump off the tape. He does jump off with the way he can dominate people, his physical ability. So like, when the people have that type of movement, power, acceleration, those things stand out.
He's also a young player. He hasn't even turned 20 years old yet, and he was productive as a true freshman on an extremely talented Georgia team. So that went a long way for me just before this season, watching his freshman and sophomore year, and a young freshman standing out on an extremely talented Georgia team.
they won the national championship that year. Yeah.
You guys lost some defensive linemen, and you had three there within the first four rounds, first and fourth round that you guys had. Obviously, with Williams, you expect big things from him from the get-go, but what about the other two guys? Can they, as defensive tackles, step in and make an immediate contribution?
I believe so, yeah. Feel really good about both players. I think Alfred brings a unique combination of size and length to our front, something that we haven't had in a while. And then CJ West he just fits our scheme perfectly. Just the ability to penetrate and disrupt, live in the backfield, and then the combination of that with Michael and Alfred's length and playmaking ability, I think it'll be a great fit.
Yeah. It'll be fun to have Kacer get his hands on them, get them both attacking, getting out of their stance, which will be a little different than what they did. So that'll take a little time, but they're both really gifted guys that are very good scheme fits.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Nick Martin play in person, or how did he jump onto your guys' radar?
Didn't get to see him this year. He was injured the game that I went to. Jumps off the tape, though.
Yeah, I remember I evaluated him last year as a redshirt sophomore, and I think at the time he was leading the nation in tackles for loss. I think he finished the year in the top 3. And you just knew, hey, if this guy comes out this year or next year, he just loves football. You see it on the tape. He makes a ton of plays. He's fast. He's physical. He fits our style of defense. He's going to be a good player. Just a matter of when he decides to come out and if we could draft him.
How conscious were you guys about building a strategy where you're adding, you know, I mean, the defensive tackle group Rivers last year did a pretty poor job in protecting your linebackers. How conscious were you trying to add some size, some run, gap fitting abilities, and then adding speed behind that as a sort of big picture defensive strategy?
If you looked at our depth at defensive tackle going into the draft, it was definitely something we had to target and have a plan for. It was a pretty deep class, so we had a good feel of who we could get and where we could get them. So we did have a plan.
The system hasn't changed at all, but just having Robert Saleh back, you guys have to kind of maybe not refamiliarize yourself, but is there conversation once he came back as far as the exact kind of players, the exact fits you guys needed to get for the defense?
Yeah, there was right when we hired him, when he came in, very first day, he sat down with us and he kind of talked about how he's evolved in his time away here, and he also heard from us how we've evolved and how we see players, how he sees players, and then kind of came together and to a consensus in terms of the plan and type of players and skill sets and fits we want moving forward.
Yeah, that's just a big part of our process. Like, for every player we draft, we have a vision for them, and we're constantly talking to our coaches, talking to each other. We work collectively to kind of make sure we have a vision for how they're going to make this team, how they're going to make us better. So it was a big part of the conversation, for sure, with Robert Saleh when he got back here.
Were you surprised to see Cole being available that low in the 7th round, just given it seemed like he had a very good athletic score for a lineman to be available that late in the draft?
Yeah, I was, but we were also talking about how many good players were still available. I think it was a really deep year. I don't remember the exact numbers, but last year we were a little bummed with how many players returned to school. And I think that showed a little this year in terms of the depth of the draft and how many good players there still were there in 6 and 7.
When you enter the draft with as many roster moves as this team had, how do you balance best player available versus positional needs, and what goes into that process in collaboration with you?
You said it, collaboration. And I think I just mentioned it before. You just have to have a vision for the player. I think one of the cool things is we did a really good job of marrying the two. At every time that we were able to select a player, we knew that he would fill a need, and he had an opportunity to play, but also that he was one of the best players on our board at the time that we were going to select him. So
It's also easier going for the best player available because there are more options available for you that you can scan the entire board and really find the best fit and the best player at that with confidence that other players are going to be there.
How long has Curtis Rourke been on your radar? What do you like about him?
Curtis Rourke has been on. I mean, he's an older guy, so he's been on the radar for a while. I love the vision. I love the way that he plays the game. He plays quarterback at a very high level, processing his mind. He throws on time. He throws with vision. He's got all the ability to make every single throw in the pocket. So, I mean, there's a lot to like about him.
Yeah, and he's a winner. He won at University of Ohio. He won at Indiana. He sees the field well. He's pretty accurate. And he's tough. He played with the torn ACL. So he showed his toughness there, and he's a guy that we're excited about.
Last one. Any of you guys go up to Oregon with John to check out them, and what did you think of Jordan James?
Yeah, I did. Yep, we did. We were up there. We loved Jordan James. We loved him before we went up there off tape. We loved he had more burst acceleration than what we expected. So yeah, he's gonna be a great fit for us. He'll add a lot of value next year.
Yeah, he didn't miss a game this year. Didn't miss any practices. He's physical. And then in the pass game, I thought at the pro day he showed that he could catch the football well. And he's good in pass protection as well. Just a guy that made a lot of sense for what we wanted.
I think it was a guy that we all really liked, and then going up there, just coming back with more conviction on the player and the fit for us, and also the upside. He's a young player, and kind of like Josh said, just him showing some abilities that, not to his own fault, but that we weren't able to quite see as much on film, but we were able to see in that pro day setting.
Something like Upton Stout, how impressive are 21 bench press reps for somebody of that size?
Yeah,
Extremely.
yeah, he's strong for his size, and he works at it. He's physical, so yeah, it shows up. It matters. He plays bigger than he is.
It seems like that's a commonality between Nick Martin, Upton, and Malik last year, guys are a little bit smaller, but still really strong. Is that something that you guys are focused on, that combination of?
I wouldn't say exactly that combination, but if you have a deficiency, then you have to make up for it somehow, sliding scale, if you will. And I think those players have shown, despite their stature being a little bit undersized, they can make up for it with their strength, their mindset, their physicality.
Yeah, the physicality really stands out.
The, on the Zoom calls we got, it seemed like all these guys, or most of them anyway, had pretty good personality. How much does that play into the process of just getting to know a guy and seeing what makes him tick and just feeling good about the guy you're getting?
It's obviously a large part of it. You know how much time we spend on the character, the background, the person. The more information we know, the more confidence we have in the decision we're making, and the better we feel about their fit with us.
Does Bobby Turner hand you guys reports, or does he just chat with you about who he likes?
Both.
Yes, all of the above, for sure.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many people did he have on his list?
The first list, the second list, or the secret list?
Appreciate
All right,
it, guys.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.